The Sims team announced the release date for infants and more in the first of the Behind the Sims series. My name is Jennifer and welcome to my news video. There was also a game update, but I'll have a separate video on that. So the things that they talked about in the stream itself was the Project Rene, some things coming for Sims Mobile and Sims Freeplay, and of course Sims 4. So I'm gonna touch on it in that same order. So to start with, we had an interview with Grant Rodiak, aka Sim Guru Grant, who is the game director for Project Rene. And there is also a blog post which summarizes some of the things, but a few things aren't on the blog post, so those are the things I'm going to mainly touch on here. So one of the things that he did say a couple of times is that it's a very early days. It's years out, and it's the start of a very long journey. Those were terms, things that were mentioned. So Project Rene is a ways off. So some questions that were asked and things that were talked about, they were talking about how they had the, first playtesting of like one little small part of Project Rene, and that they were taking the data from that and trying to incorporate it into what they were doing, and that there would be more playtesting and that there would be more information about Project Rene and the playtesting and whatnot in further Behind the Sims, because this was only part one of a series. They didn't say how many there were going to be, but they did say it was going to lead up to another Behind the Sims summit. So I expect we'll get another one maybe at the end of the year. Who knows? So a couple things that they talked about really was about the fact that it was going to be cross-platform, i.e. you can play it on computer, you can play it on mobile, and you can play it on console. But with respect to computer versus mobile, the computer would let you do like a deep dive and access more things like, the color wheel and all the ability to change everything, very customizable. And I got the impression that that would not be a thing on mobile, but they were still trying to work with it and figure out the details. So it doesn't seem like they're planning on dumbing down the computer version to be able to get it to work on mobile. It's just that you won't be able to necessarily do everything on mobile that you would be able to do on computer. Or that was the impression that I got. They also talked about multiplayer. So you're still going to be able to play single player, but you could play with friends. You could invite them and they could play with you. But it's not going to be like an MMO where there's like a space where you go and play with everybody. So it's going to be very user controlled as to if or when you play with someone else. And there was going to be more play testing. And when they do the play testing, it's like just focusing on small little elements of the game, and that they would have more information about that and Project Rene in general in further Behind the Sims series that will be coming. So then they went on to talk about the Sims Mobile and the Sims Freeplay. Both got things for the 23rd anniversary of the Sims franchise. The Sims Mobile got like a hanging plumb bob, and the Sims Freeplay got new music. It's on a new Sims FM station, and there's like some Sims 1, 2, 3, 4, and Sims Mobile music that's going in there. The details are on that blog post I mentioned earlier. They both also got other things. The Sims Mobile got a new festival, which they have repeatedly from what I can gather. This one, the focus was on Korean architecture and fashion, and the Sims Freeplay is getting a new neighborhood that was already announced, and it's supposed to be coming in April. So now on to the news about the Sims 4 infants, and they did not come today, and they are coming March 14th. They have a little video there with some of the things so you can see them, and I did see some people comment that they just look like short toddlers. They do, and even the clothes, a lot of them are things that they already use for toddlers, though not everything. They look like there's probably some new things. They are definitely smaller, and they move a little differently. So I'd say they look similar, which is fine, because it means that they age from like that little infant up to the toddler, and they're going to look kind of the same. But they're definitely a lot smaller, and they move differently from what I can see. And I mean, it was just a trailer, so you're not really fully going to see it. I was a little concerned that maybe they'd make it like a cat and a dog and you wouldn't be able to control them. But there was one point where you could see there was a plumb bob. So they essentially showed the little trailer of it, and then they ended with the fact that it was coming March 14th. But I started with the fact that it's coming March 14th. And then they did do a behind the scenes of the infants. And that's actually where you can see the plumb bob on the infant. And I will link to the points for all of these things. So if you want to see more on Project Rene or infants or this Behind the Sims or Freeplay and mobile, you can see exactly where they are and go look at them in the video down below. So they talked about, you know, how they were going to look in Create a Sim, because of course they can't walk, they can't stand. So it was sort of a different way of setting them up. So they have some examples there on the screen that they had, you know, toyed with using, and some funny, you know, fails, glitches, and some things you can do with the toddlers. You can go from standing to sitting, holding them, and you can nurse them. That was already there. You can pass them from one sim to another. So those are some nice things. Though it did show when they were changing them, you changed them in the air. So I don't know whether we're going to be getting change tables. I know a lot of people would like those. That wasn't there. Those little pants are toddler pants. So there are definitely some things. And then there was this one where they were talking about animating them as they were going on the stairs, which is really cute. And how like the little infant would be really focused on trying to get up that stair, because that would be like their focus, and so they were animating to show that. So, but yes, definitely cute. And then they talked about the voicing of them, how they, you know, wanted it to be so you could hear them, but I guess not too irritating when they're crying and whining, that, you know, a little bit element of cuteness to it. So but anyways, they are cute, but then again, so are toddlers. So I don't think it's too bad that they look a lot like the toddlers, as I already said. So they're so adorable. And they show some of the things that you can get, you know, different outfits, hairs, hats, accessories, and sunglasses, and teeth, and birthmarks there. So I don't know if that means we're all getting birthmarks in the different stages, because that's not something we have currently in the game. And then they showed sort of how they interact, and you can see there that the toddler definitely does look a lot bigger, but that might have also been an angle, and I went by it, but they can also interact with cats and dogs. And anyways, they definitely look like they may be a little bit challenging and take some getting used to. So they are quite cute. And then, of course, they ended with the fact that we will be getting information, I assume the trailer, about the expansion pack on Thursday, February 2nd. So when they say meet the family, that is just, we're getting the trailer for it. Since infants are coming out on March 14th, which is a Tuesday, I expect, and this is speculation, that the expansion pack is going to come out on March 17th. And I expect it'll be like a rolling worldwide release. So like Australia will get it first at midnight. I think it's usually Sydney time, but I'm, going by memory. It's been a while. And, in the various different zones, and they have zones of where it is. So for North America, it's usually midnight Eastern, which means like those on the West Coast in the Pacific time zone actually get it the day before at 9 p.m. So they would get it like late Thursday evening. Again, this is just me speculating based on the March 14th announced date for the infants. You can see that this household has an infant in it, so the pack has to come out after the infants are released. But we'll get more information and confirmation about that date, I expect, on the 2nd. So let me know what you think about what was covered in the Behind the Sims series and what you're most excited for in a comment down below. But that's going to be it for this video. Likes and comments are always appreciated, and they really help with the algorithms. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!